You ever have one of those mornings where everything feels fine? Not amazing, not terrible. Just fine. That was today. I rolled out of bed 5 minutes too late, brushed my teeth while half asleep, grabbed a banana, and barely caught the bus. Same old, same old. I sat by the window, earbuds in, watching the world blur past, my head leaning against the glass. And of course, like always, right when we hit the last stop, Nolan Hart jumped on. Loud, chaotic Nolan, always with some stupid joke or story to tell, acting like it wasn't 7:43 a.m. and the rest of us weren't still halfway asleep. "Dude, you look like you fought a raccoon and lost," he said as he slid into the seat next to me, slapping his backpack between us. "Morning to you too," I muttered, trying not to smile. He grinned like he won something. That's how it always is with Nolan. He's the kind of guy who walks into a room and suddenly it's a party. Teachers hate that they secretly love him. Students hate that they don't hate him. And me? Well, I don't really know. Okay, maybe I do. It's complicated. We've been best friends since 7th grade, when he dared me to jump off the swings at the highest point and I broke my wrist. He stayed in the ER with me the whole night, even lied to the nurse and said he was my brother. That's just Nolan. Loyal, chaotic, and apparently kind of an idiot. And now we're juniors, somehow still stuck together, even though he's all charisma and I'm more background noise. I don't mind. It's easier to watch him from the sidelines than to try and keep up. Most days. Today felt like one of those days where everything was too close. His arm brushed mine when we walked into homeroom. He laughed too loudly during English and kept looking at me, like we were sharing a secret. And in our last class, history, he sat behind me and started poking my back with the end of his pencil for no reason at all. It's dumb stuff. Stuff best friends do. But sometimes I wonder why it makes my chest feel like it's caving in. I try not to think about it too much, because if I think about it, then I have to admit things. Things I'm not ready to say out loud. Not even to myself. So I take a breath. I tell myself he's just being Nolan. And I try not to notice the way his laugh makes my stomach twist or how I always know when he walks into a room, even if I'm not looking. It's just a normal day. And I've got a normal crush I'm definitely, absolutely not acknowledging. Not at all. 4th period history is the academic equivalent of warm milk. Half the class is in a semi-coma, heads propped up with fists, eyelids heavy. Mr. Redman, bless him, drones on about some colonial treaty like it's the most riveting thing to ever happen. I'm trying to take notes. Really I am, but my handwriting's already devolved into squiggles and question marks. I sit in the second row, Nolan right behind me. He tapped my shoulder with his pen as I sat down, giving me one of those lazy grins like we were about to rob a bank together. Which, knowing him, isn't out of the question. 20 minutes into the lecture, as Mr. Redman starts talking about European alliances, a crumpled piece of paper lands on the edge of my desk. I glance behind me. Nolan raises his eyebrows innocently, like he didn't just commit the oldest classroom crime in the book. I unroll the paper, already half smiling. Inside is a rough sketch of Mr. Redman standing heroically on a battlefield, one hand holding the Constitution, the other dramatically raised to the sky. Above his head, a speech bubble reads, "Gentlemen, let's get historical." His mustache is 10 times larger than in real life, and there's a bald eagle perched on his shoulder for some reason. I snort. I actually snort. Mr. Redman glances up, eyes scanning the room. I cover my mouth quickly and try to fake a cough. Behind me, I feel Nolan lean forward just enough for his breath to tickle my ear. "Made you laugh," he whispers, smug. I shake my head and slide the note into my textbook, cheeks burning, trying not to grin like an idiot. And then it happens. I feel his fingers, gentle, casual, brush the side of my face. He tucks a strand of hair behind my ear like it's the most natural thing in the world. Like we do that kind of thing all the time. We don't. My entire body stiffens. It lasts maybe 2 seconds. 2 seconds, and then he leans back like nothing happened. But my mind is already in full meltdown mode. What the hell was that? It was just a touch. Just fingers. Skin. That's it. But it felt warm. Like it lit a match somewhere deep under my ribs. I try to keep looking forward, try to listen to Mr. Redman as he moves on to the stamp act. But it's useless. My brain won't stop rewinding to that moment. The way Nolan's fingertips grazed my cheek. The softness. The ease. He's touched me a million times before. We've tackled each other in football, wrestled over game controllers, even accidentally fallen asleep on the couch during a movie once. None of that ever made my heart feel like it was thudding in my ears. But this was different. Smaller, but somehow bigger. Did he mean it? Was it a joke? Just another one of Nolan's casual, reckless moves? I don't know. And the not knowing is worse than anything else. The bell rings. I jump like I've been caught doing something wrong. As everyone starts packing up, I don't look behind me. I can't. I just grab my stuff and head for the door, my hands trembling just enough to notice. I didn't mean to avoid him. Not at first. Started with lunch. I told him I had to meet with a teacher about my English paper. Total lie. I just needed space. Space to breathe, to think, to stop replaying that moment in history class over and over again like it was some kind of life-altering event. Except, for me, it kind of was. The next day, I skipped our usual morning walk from the bus loop and pretended I'd left my earbuds at home so I wouldn't have to talk. He texted me something dumb during chemistry, like, "You still mad I beat your high score in jetball?" But I left it on read. I didn't even have a high score in jetball. He was just trying to make me laugh. And normally it would have worked. But everything felt too heavy now. Every memory, every joke, every stupid moment between us suddenly looked different when held up to the light. Like that time last semester when he'd randomly flopped across my lap during movie night and said, "You make a good pillow, Calloway." I'd rolled my eyes and shoved him off. But my chest had burned for 20 minutes after. Or when he joked, "If I ever dated a guy, it'd be someone like you. But hotter." He'd laughed and I'd laughed too. But a little too hard, just to make sure it didn't seem like it meant anything. But now I wasn't so sure it hadn't. I kept telling myself it was all in my head. That I was reading into things because of one moment. One look. One touch. Still, by the third day of cold shouldering him, I could feel it catching up to me. And so could he. "Jared," Nolan said, suddenly right beside me at my locker after school. "Are we, like, fighting or something?" I jumped, nearly dropping my books. "No. Why would we be?" He leaned against the locker next to mine, arms crossed, eyes scanning my face like he was trying to read a language he didn't quite speak yet. "I don't know. You've been dodging me all week. Did I do something?" "No," I said too quickly. "I've just been busy." "With what?" "Stuff." Nolan tilted his head. "What kind of stuff?" "The kind that's none of your business," I snapped. Silence. That wasn't fair, and we both knew it. He didn't react with anger. Just looked at me. Serious now, no jokes, no smirk. "You're lying," he said quietly. "You suck at it, by the way." I stared down at my shoes. My voice felt too small when I finally spoke. I need space. Okay?" Nolan was quiet for a beat. Then he said, "Is this about what happened in history?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. "Because if it is," he continued, stepping a little closer, "I didn't mean to freak you out." "I'm not freaked out." I lied, too fast again. He raised an eyebrow. "Then why won't you even look at me?" I finally did. And the second our eyes met, I knew he saw everything I'd been trying to hide. "I don't know what I'm feeling," I whispered. Nolan didn't push, didn't say anything, just nodded once, slowly. "Okay," he said. "Then maybe we figure it out. Together." Then he turned and walked away, leaving me standing there, heart racing and brain spinning. Friday afternoon, Nolan caught up to me as I was heading toward the bus. He jogged up beside me, backpack slung over one shoulder, face unreadable. "Come to my place," he said. "No hello, no warm-up. We need to clear the air." I hesitated. I was already planning to go home and bury myself in Netflix and denial, but the look on his face, equal parts stubborn and nervous, made it impossible to say no. "Okay," I said quietly. We walked in silence most of the way. His house was only a few blocks from school, A weathered two-story place with an overgrown lawn and a basketball hoop that had been broken since freshman year. We went straight to his room, same as always, but it felt different now. Every part of it. The posters, the empty cans of soda on his desk, the beat-up beanbag chair in the corner. It all felt too loud, too intimate. He tossed me a controller and booted up Street Brawl 6 like we weren't both wound tighter than piano strings. We played in silence for a while, just button mashing and fake trash talk. I lost, of course, but I didn't even care. I barely registered the screen. Then he put the controllers down and turned on a movie, some action thing we'd seen before. We laid on opposite ends of the bed, backs against pillows. The middle a no man's land of uncertainty. Halfway through, during a dramatic monologue about sacrifice or whatever, Nolan reached for the remote and paused it. The room fell into silence. Just the hum of his desk fan and the thump of my heartbeat in my ears. "Jared," he said, turning to face me. "What's going on with you?" My throat tightened. "Nothing." He gave me a look, the kind that cuts through every excuse. "You've been off for days. You've barely talked to me. You look like you're gonna explode every time I'm near you." I sat up slowly, rubbing the back of my neck. "I don't know how to explain it." "Try," he said. "Please." I opened my mouth, closed it, then opened it again. I've been weird. Okay? I know that. I'm not trying to push you away. "Then what are you doing?" I stared at the movie paused on screen, a still frame of some character staring off dramatically into the distance. "Fitting." "You touched me," I said, voice low. Nolan blinked. "In class." I nodded. He paused. "Is that what this is about?" I laughed, but it came out hollow. "Yeah, no, kind of." He sat up too, mirroring me now, cross-legged on the bed. "Jared," he said gently. "Was it too much?" I shook my head. That's the thing. It wasn't too much. It wasn't even a big deal. But it felt like a big deal. He was quiet, waiting. I looked at him, really looked at him, his familiar crooked smile, his sharp cheekbones, that stupid freckle by his left eye, and then it just spilled out. "It's because I think I wanted you to." The words hung there like smoke. I couldn't take them back even if I tried. Nolan's eyes flickered. Shock. Something like relief. Something I couldn't name. "You did," he said quietly. I nodded, terrified. For a second, neither of us moved. Then Nolan leaned forward, slow and hesitant, like he was waiting for me to stop him. I didn't. His lips met mine, soft, uncertain. Not like in the movies. Not perfect or choreographed. Just real. It was awkward at first. We bumped noses. I didn't know where to put my hands. But it didn't matter. Because the moment our mouths fit together properly, everything else melted away. It was electric. Like flipping on a switch I didn't know I had. Every nerve in my body lit up, and my heart was racing so fast I thought I might pass out. When we finally pulled apart, I was breathless. Nolan smiled, shy for once. "Well," he said, voice unsteady. "That was something." I laughed, half nervous, half relieved. "Yeah, definitely something." We didn't say much after that. The movie stayed paused. We just laid there, quiet, letting the air settle around us. Everything had changed. And somehow, it felt like everything had just finally clicked into place. The second I got home, I closed my bedroom door and just stood there, heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. My backpack hit the floor. My legs felt like jelly. I didn't even turn the lights on. I kissed Nolan. Or he kissed me. Or we kissed each other. My brain couldn't decide, because it was too busy spinning in circles, trying to figure out what the hell came next. First, it felt incredible. Like I was floating. Like everything I'd been pushing down had finally been let out into the world. But now, alone in the dark of my room, it felt terrifying. What if I just ruined everything? I sat down on the edge of my bed, running my fingers through my hair, breath shaky. Did he regret it already? Was he just caught in the moment? Was it a joke? A test? The worst part was, I didn't know, and I couldn't bring myself to ask. Every time I replayed the kiss, I'd go from smiling like an idiot to wanting to crawl under a rock. What if people found out? What if they started asking questions? What if Nolan told someone? Not in a mean way, but just casually, like it wasn't a big deal. Because to me it was. I didn't sleep that night, barely ate the next day. At school, I avoided him like my life depended on it. I skipped homeroom, took the long way to class, ate lunch in the library with my hood up like I was hiding from the FBI. He texted me, "Hey, can we talk?" But I left it on read, and I hated myself for it. But I couldn't face him. Not yet. Not when I didn't even know how to face myself. What if he thought I was weird? Or worse, what if he was just being nice? What if I wanted it to mean more than it actually did? By the third day, he stopped trying. No texts. No waiting by my locker. No notes slipped across desks. And that's when it really hit me. I missed him. Not just the butterflies, not just the what-ifs. I missed him. The stupid jokes, the way he'd ruffle my hair just to annoy me, the way he made even the most boring days feel electric. And the silence between us was suddenly louder than anything he'd ever said. But I didn't know how to fix it, so I stayed quiet, and hoped he hadn't decided we were better off strangers. It was late afternoon when I heard the knock at the door. At first, I thought maybe it was a neighbor or a package delivery. But then I heard Mom call from the kitchen, "Jared, it's for you." I already knew who it was before I even reached the door. Nolan stood there on my front porch, hands shoved in his hoodie pockets, hair a mess like he'd been running his fingers through it too much. His eyes met mine the second I opened the door, and I knew he wasn't here to pretend everything was fine. "Hey," he said. "Hey." He stared at me for a second, jaw tight. "Can we talk?" I nodded and stepped aside, letting him in. We went up to my room in silence, but the air between us was buzzing, like a storm about to break. As soon as the door clicked shut behind him, he turned to face me. "I don't get it," he said, his voice a little too loud, a little too hurt. "We kissed, and then you vanished." "I know," I said quietly. I panicked. He let out a shaky breath, pacing a little. "You think I didn't? I've been freaking out too. But I still showed up. I still texted you. I tried." I looked down. I didn't know what to say. "Try now," he said. "Because I can't keep guessing how you feel, Jared. It's messing with my head." I sat down on the edge of my bed, fingers curled tightly in my sleeves. "I don't know what I'm doing," I said. Everything changed so fast. One second we were friends, and the next, "We still are friends," he interrupted, his voice softer now. "That didn't change. I think I've felt something more for a while. I just didn't want to mess things up." I looked up, surprised. "You have?" He nodded. "Yeah, since like sophomore year. But I thought if I said anything, you'd think I was a freak. Or worse, that you'd stop talking to me." My chest ached. "I didn't stop because I hated you," I whispered. "I stopped because I liked it. The kiss, the touch, everything. And it scared the crap out of me." Nolan sat down beside me, his shoulder barely touching mine. "I'm scared too," he said. We sat in silence for a moment, just letting that truth hang there between us. "I don't even know what this makes me," I admitted. "I've never really thought about it like that. Not until you." "Same," he said. "I don't care about labels right now. I just care about you." I looked at him, and he looked back, and everything felt real, vulnerable, safe. "We don't have to tell anyone," Nolan added. "Not yet. Not until we're ready. It can just be ours for now." My chest loosened for the first time in days. "Okay," I said. "Let's figure it out. Together." He smiled, and this time it wasn't smug or teasing. It was soft, full of something I couldn't name but wanted to hold on to. And just like that, the space between us didn't feel so scary anymore. A few weeks later, things looked the same from the outside. We still sit at the same lunch table, still roast each other over homework, still play Street Brawl 6 and argue about movie endings like we always have. No one at school suspects a thing, and maybe that's a good thing for now. But beneath the surface, everything's different. Now, when we walk side by side, our hands brush on purpose. When I send him songs, he listens to the lyrics. When he texts me goodnight, I fall asleep smiling. We've carved out a little world of our own. Late night calls where we say things we're not ready to say out loud yet, and quiet corners at school where he bumps his shoulder against mine and grins like we share a secret. Sometimes we sit on his roof and talk about nothing. Other times we don't talk at all. We just are. I still get nervous. I still don't know how to define what we are. But I don't need to, not yet. Nolan never pushes. He just looks at me like he already knows, and he's patient enough to wait until I do too. The fear is still there sometimes, like a shadow. But so is the warmth. I think about that moment in class. The way he tucked my hair behind my ear like it meant nothing. It meant everything. It was the first domino in a chain I never saw coming. One tiny, thoughtless gesture that cracked something open inside me. That made me stop pretending, stop running, even if I didn't realize it right away. Now, every small moment feels bigger, because I know what's behind it. Every glance, every smile, every touch that lingers half a second too long. And sometimes, when he looks at me across a room full of people who don't know, I feel like I'm the only one who exists. So yeah, it started with a strand of hair. And then I fell in love with my best friend. One awkward, beautiful step at a time.